bitch.
What is up, guys? What is up? This is DDP here for a little bit of Cowboys talk with you. Let me adjust the microphone a little bit. This is a special edition, pretty much Christmas Eve edition here of the show. Thank you for those tuning in. Gleh in the house. Daniel Meza, what's up? Dude, you're at Disneyland and you're watching my show. What's up? You're on vacation, man. That's almost too dedicated. But that's legit, no doubt. Tavion, what's up, man? I'm saying that right? Tavion? What's good? Smash the like, indeed. Yes, sir. Please do. Here, I'll run that thing right now. Pachow. Oh, wait. I hit the Facebook one. That totally derails it. But, quick shout out here. Here, there's the YouTube. Quick shout out before I get underway here. Shout out to my friends Mario and Billy. They just got engaged tonight. My friend Mario and his girlfriend Billy, they got engaged. Congrats, guys. Not that they're watching. Obviously, they're off doing newly engaged friend thing. Well, they're not friends. You get my point. Congrats to them, all the same. You will probably see Mario on the channel a lot more in the future, so congrats to them for sure. Let's roll, though. We got some Cowboys talk here tonight. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Cowboys' 27-20 win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And with that win, the Cowboys have clinched the NFC East. They will be the 4 seed in the playoff. The Bears won today, so now there's no chance for the 3 seed. And for that reason alone, I think the Cowboys need to consider resting some guys next week against the Giants in New York. But we'll get into that, and we'll pick your brains on that, see what you think. This is going to be a short, condensed show because of the holidays. I'm traveling and on the go. I got to get up early in the morning and be out and about for the holidays. You guys know what that's about, I'm sure. So I won't keep you too long tonight, but I wanted to hold to my schedule and get a chance to talk about this because by the time I'm back in town, it's going to be time to shift gears to that Giants game. So here we are, Victory Monday, and we are talking a Cowboys win. Now, I don't have a quick pull-up for it on the graphic-wise here, but I did write a new article today, just came out, talking about the Cowboys and how their play-calling woes, their play-calling issues continue even as the playoffs loom. Check that out on thedallasprospect.com. In fact, you know what? I think it just went up on DallasSportsFanatic.com as well, as I now do the taboo thing and actually glance at my phone as I'm in the middle of a stream. But I feel like I saw that go up earlier. I thought maybe because of the holidays it wouldn't post on their site in time because it has to go through an editor first. And it looks like it got there just fine, but I wanted to check it out all the same. You can find that on DallasSportsFanatic.com or thedallasprospect.com. Talks about how the Cowboys, as good as the defense is, and even, they've won 5 of their last 6 games, but in large part, they don't have that air of a team that intimidates people. And I feel like a lot of that has to do specifically with the state of the offense. And we know that there are strengths to Dak Prescott. There are strengths to Zeke Elliott. Absolutely. Zeke's top 3 running back in the league. There are a lot of strengths there. But Scott Linehan, particularly in the red zone, doesn't know how to use these guys properly. And as a result, it's created some issues for the Cowboys where they're not able to get the kind of production that they need out of those positions. So until they figure that out, we're going to be caught in kind of a no man's land, I feel. And as a result, the defense is going to have to bear a heavier burden. Now, after yesterday's win, the Cowboys have now moved to 8-0 on the season. When they score at least 20 points, they are 8-0. In all other games, they are 1-6. So there's something there to look at for sure. The one win, in case you're wondering, came against the Saints, in which they won 13-10, and they didn't score in the second half at all in that game. That was, other than some costly penalties in that game, that was pretty much a defensive masterclass by the Cowboys in that New Orleans game. So they're going to have things they have to figure out, but in the playoffs, you really need to get more out of your offense than we're getting right now. This offense averages barely 20 points a game. Even now, even with 8 games of Amari Cooper, you still find yourself at that spot where you're averaging 20.2 points. That's not going to be good enough most games. Now, obviously, the Colts game skews that a little bit, being shut out, but it is what it is. Daniel Meza, BS penalties by the refs. There were certainly some questionable calls in that game. I will admit, I will be the first to admit, that was one of the worst officiated games I can remember watching. I remember the end of that Eagles game being really bad too. Both ways. I'm not trying to say like we got screwed. We did in some ways, but the Eagles definitely, like that Dallas Goddard touchdown run of like 75 yards, that was them getting hosed. And then we got the same thing on like a roughing the passer that was really a sack. And it goes both ways. Like it always, if it doesn't quite balance out, it's at least bad both directions. And that's what this Bucs game was as well. The Bucs get that touchdown before half, in which they get 3 rewarded penalties. A BS roughing the passer, in which was a perfect sack, leading with the shoulder at the waist as the ball's released. No freaking chance is that a roughing the passer. Oh, well, he drove him to the ground. You run through the target. The fact that he went down hard is irrelevant. Then you have the Xavier Woods hitting a defenseless receiver was the call. He went with his shoulder to the other guy's shoulder. It's not, you can't put this kind of perfect bubble around them where you're basically a half step away from flag football. You just can't. But that's what they're trying to do. The penalty was thrown. It's not a reviewable play. And so the Buccaneers get 2 first downs. Now, to be fair, Jameis threw a first down pass, a pass good for a first down on the roughing the passer call. But I think it was like a 12-yard completion, and then they got 15 instead because of the penalty. All the same, it worked out in a way where I did not feel that it was balanced. There were a couple questionable calls, and they get a quick touchdown before the half. That kind of changed the complexion of the game. But the big story here, obviously, as you see in the thumbnail behind me, the defense came to play. And we know the defense is damn good. But the defense did something it hasn't done all year. It scored a defensive touchdown for the first time this season. That coming in the form of a Jalen Smith 68-yard fumble recovery return for a touchdown. That fumble created on a sack fumble, I should say, by Randy Gregory. Now, Gregory, he had a couple hiccups early in the game, but that dude came to play. Randy Gregory finally balled out, made some big plays that allowed the Cowboys to benefit. He then recovered a fumble later in the game and set Dallas up inside the 10, I want to say. Maybe 15. It was certainly within the red zone. So the defense rewards you at least, let's see, they got a touchdown there. So they got 14 points in that game out of the defense creating turnovers. They win by 7, 27-20. So there you go. The defense is the difference in the game. Because the offense, as has been the case so much this season, they get a good drive early, get a touchdown, and then they pretty much go dormant. And part of that is on Dak and his execution. And part of that as well is just on the play calling, because I don't think that they use their guys the way they need to be used. Let me see here. Quick roll call here. Well, not so much a roll call as just keeping up with the comments. I see them flying by. Yes, smash that like indeed. Let me see here. Also check out the clothinglinerepresent.com/store/the-Dallas-Prospect. Victory Monday. Yep, you said it right. Okay, cool. I'm glad I got it right, Tavion. Lots of Eagles fans here have to rep the star. Oh, at Disney World. That's awesome, man. Dude, that's legit. That's seriously legit that you're on vacation at, is it Disneyland or Disney World? You're in, I think, California. Regardless, wherever you are, you're on vacation and you're watching this show live. That's legit. Respect, man, for sure. Scott Linehan, I give you a 98% chance Scott Linehan is gone by next year. I don't think there is really any chance he sticks around. We might potentially be stuck with Jason Garrett, but short of winning a Super Bowl, and even then, I would still argue there's a case to be made for Scott Linehan being gone if we got to that point. But this offense is atrocious. It's the 31st rated red zone offense in the league, despite featuring a big mobile quarterback. Yeah, I understand it's harder to throw the ball in confined areas like the red zone where the defense kind of scrunches in a little bit. Sure, but you got a big mobile quarterback that can run through contact. You have the leading rusher in the league. You have a target like Amari Cooper, and now you've started to find some at least reasonable targets in the form of your tight ends. And you got a guy like Cole Beasley. Like, you have weapons. There's no excuse for being the 31st rated red zone offense. Overall, the Cowboys' total offense, I think, is 23rd in the league, which is also trash. There's no coming back for Scott Linehan. It's clear that Scott Linehan does not know how to use Dak. I've said it for a long time. You can win with Dak, but you got to have the right system around him, the right players around him. They have a lot of the right players. The offensive line has been a little sketch, and Dak hasn't always helped himself. I will call Dak out when he's wrong and when he's bad. But the play calling is still bad. At Indianapolis, he didn't run for a single carry in that game, and that's only the third time in his career he had 0 rushing attempts. By the way, they're 0-3 in those games, for what it's worth. But this carries out. Dak gets the rushing touchdown on the first drive for the Cowboys. I think it's the first drive. Maybe it was the second. But regardless, early on gets a rushing touchdown, sets Dallas up, and hey, it's yet another game where they don't turn the ball over, they win the game. Tampa Bay's a bad defense, a great passing offense, but their running offense isn't that great. People might say it's a game Dallas should have beaten the snot out of them, and I would tend to agree, but it's an any given Sunday kind of thing too. Jameis Winston is playing for his career at this point, at least his starting career, because the team has an option to pick up for him next year worth $23 million. I don't think they're going to pick it up. I think he is very likely playing for his career, trying to show whoever the new head coach probably is at that point in training camp next year that he's worth being at least in competition in training camp for the starting job still. So we'll see. Let's see here. Raiders over the Broncos, crazy. Yeah, it's a weird game for sure. Let's go Cowboys. Yep. Fam, what's good, Eric? What's good, Eric Anthony? Nice, gonna read it after the stream. Appreciate that, Tavion. A lot of holding on the Bucs defense. Yeah, the Buccaneers. So I mentioned some of the bad calls that went against the Cowboys. There were times where they missed face masks on the Buccaneers, where they missed clear holding, like where I think it was Malik Collins on one play is completely past the Bucs defender, and the Bucs defender has him basically in a headlock behind him, trying to keep him away from Jameis on the pass. I don't know that Malik gets there, but it's a hold all the same. And how many times do you see a run play go left and they call holding on the right side of the line? Like, it happens. It absolutely happens. So you got to call it if it's there. And it was really, really bad officiating. It was bad both directions, but I feel like overall it favored Tampa Bay a little bit, and that definitely had an impact. As I said, they don't get the touchdown before half probably, if not for that, and so that 7 points, that changes the complexion of the game a little bit. Face mask on Zeke as well, agreed. Referees crappy for all year, for all games. NFL needs to address this problem. So the NFL, I read, actually has only 23 full-time referees on its staff, and everyone else is part-time, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. You would think a billion-dollar company, a non-profit company, which they are technically listed as, like the NFL, would have more full-time referees, at least a full staff of full-time referees, but they don't. Referees make something like $2,500 a game unless it's playoffs, and then they make like double or triple that, which is cool for them. But you think about it, it's like, bro, they have 16 games a year unless they go playoffs. It's not that high paying of a job. And you would think for a league of this magnitude that they would need to invest in that a little bit better. So maybe moving forward they need to, because yes, as you guys are saying in the comments, this year has been especially bad for that. Glad, for real, hit me up in the comments. I got a t-shirt with your name on it. Gallup played good Gallup played good though, I guess. Yeah, you know, he catches that fade pass in the end zone to set up the go-ahead touchdown effectively. I mean, it's not the go-ahead. It's not like it moved him ahead in the score, so that's an incorrect way for me to frame it. But it did prove to be the difference in the game, the final score for Dallas. And here's the thing. Dallas got too cute in the red zone. So this is me again talking about Scott Linehan. Him running a reverse with Amari Cooper. Bro, what are you doing? Like, what on earth are you doing? Why is that a good call in your mind? I understand, like, you want to run Zeke mostly, but you don't want to run him exclusively because your line is not as dominant right now as you would like. Fair point. But why on earth is a reverse to Amari Cooper your play? Not only do they snuff it out and completely bury you, but then you throw a fade. Yes, you get a touchdown on it, but you throw a fade to Michael Gallup. That's not a great play call either. That's a specialty throw that is not for Gallup. It worked out, and I'm glad. I love Gallup. I love the pick, but it's a confusing play call all the same. Linehan is, as far as play calling concerned, calling kind of his worst stretch of football since maybe the first couple weeks. Seemed like Amari didn't get any throws. He was minified a little bit, and part of that is, I think, is the play calling. But at the same time, I think Dak took what was there and what was comfortable. I think defenses have kind of figured out playing too high, they can kind of force Dak into some tougher spots for what he's used to, and it made a difference. Neck cramp on Tyrone Crawford. I don't know. Was it a cramp? I heard it was a strain because he went to the hospital. They checked him out. That was the scary thing on the second play of the game. He goes to the hospital. He's stretchered off. And what they're saying is that it's a quote-unquote deep stinger, but he was checked out of the hospital and allowed to go home before the game was even over. That's huge for this team because I know Tyrone Crawford has caught a lot of flack from the fan base over the years, but that dude is one of the biggest, most important leaders for this team in that locker room. And he's played great this year. Whether they've asked him to play outside or inside, he has been great. Like, there is no chance. I know he's one of those big cap hit numbers or figures for next year. There's zero chance they cut him, assuming his health is right, because he is crucial to the identity of the defense and what they do. And hey, big respect to him, man, for fighting through it. Vic G, DDP, is it over for Dennis Smith Jr. in Dallas? No chance. I say, well, let me reframe that. Not no chance, very limited chance. I will be writing about that probably in the next couple days. I know the story broke today. Holidays are going to make it tough. I'm going to not break a story. I'm going to write on that subject, Vic, and I will probably do a follow-up video on this. Keep an eye out on Dallas Sports Fanatic or thedallasprospect.com for when that article drops. I will touch on that, but this is a Cowboys show, so I got to keep it on the game. But hang tight. We don't struggle driving the ball. We can't finish. Yes, the red zone offense is 31st in the league. That's pitiful. They need to do something about that. Dak claimed Dak claimed that sack on him in the red zone. Yeah, I agree. I would have to think so, DDP. I would have to think so. I don't know what that's in reference to. Vic G. Oh, yeah, I answered your question. Yeah. Is Austin Kendall the future at OU? Well, that's a college football question now. The future at OU, I don't know. Could he maybe be the starter next year? Sure. I think that Spencer Rattler, the incoming freshman, is going to probably really contend for that job. And he's certainly much more so the future than Austin Kendall. Offense couldn't connect on anything. Agreed. The offense has had struggles. Again, it's the 24th rated offense overall in terms of total yardage. Red zone scoring, it's 31st, which is abysmal. You cannot... Like, it's unfathomable for how good... You have a top 3 running back in Zeke. You have all the money you've spent on the offensive line. I know a lot of those guys are hurt or out right now, but there's no excuse for being rated where they're rated. They don't run RPOs like Dak's strength. They don't run enough play action, which is a Dak strength. And because for a short stretch they were utilizing bootlegs too much and teams keyed in on that, now they don't use bootlegs hardly ever. They will occasionally throw one out, but they've taken the things Dak does best and minimized it, and now they're trying to instead run pocket passing things that he doesn't do great, and it's allowing him to be exposed more so as an inaccurate quarterback. And that actually leads me to an interesting point. During the game, I think this was a 3rd and 12 play in the game. Now, the play before, Dak nearly throws a pick on that first drive, I believe. And the very next play on 3rd and 12, he hits like a 31 or 32-yard strike to Gallup. It was to Gallup. And beautiful pass on 3rd and 12. Yes, it's a great pass, great catch. And something Joe Buck said caught my ear. He points out that it's a good throw, but a great catch. That's how he phrased it. Good throw, but a great catch. And that caught my ear because I thought, you know, the framing of that comment, if you think about it, it minimizes Dak's throw a little bit. Now, Dak has his problems. Absolutely. And I have detailed them on this channel. You guys have heard that. I have criticized him for missing throws, whether it's the half dozen times it seems like he's missed Gallup streaking down the sideline or whatever. I've called him out. But on a play like that where Dak makes a great throw, one of the best throws he makes all year, for you to reduce it and say it's only a good play and not a great play, and that it's more on the receiver for the good outcome than it is on the quarterback, I couldn't help but think to myself, you take that same throw, that same catch, flip it, make it Tom Brady instead of Dak Prescott, make it Carson Wentz, make it anyone like that, anyone, Aaron Rodgers, make it whoever you want, a big name quarterback with more respect. Do they say it's a good throw but a better catch, or do they just say great throw, great catch? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they reduce Dak because the narrative is that he is inconsistent and that he is an inaccurate passer who holds onto the ball too long. I feel like they lock onto those talking points, and every single play that plays out in the games they call, they're then looking for things where they can go, see, right there, that's it right there, held onto the ball too long. See, there it is right there, overthrew his target. Like, they're looking for that. They're looking for ways that they can frame it to fit the narrative that they are comfortable with, because that's the narrative they accept. And I'm like, call him out when he's wrong. Call him out when he's bad. But when he throws a play like that, don't minimize what he does. Don't be like, yeah, that's a good throw, but a great catch. No, man, it's a great throw and a great catch. Both guys deserve credit. You can give equal credit to both guys there. That's just my thoughts. Let me know if you agree. I rep my DDP shirt from West Virginia to Gatlinburg. Oh, man, that's legit. That's legit, Adam. Let's see. Let me scroll back up here. Dak can still run, though. Is it even passing-wise? Just take off running. Exactly, Albert. I agree. There's a lot that they can do with Dak that they just don't do. They're not using him to his strength. The guy ran for 2,500 yards at Mississippi State in the SEC, for God's sakes. Use his legs. And if they want to tell you, hey, we're worried about his long-term health, we don't want to get him hurt like a Robert Griffin III or something like that. Bro, you're letting him get sacked 50-plus times this year. He's the third, it's the third time in Cowboys history the quarterback has been sacked 50-plus times. Fix it. Let him be what he needs to be. If you can get Dak on a scale of 1 to 10, if you can get the absolute 10 of what Dak is capable of, if you let him run, do that instead of making him be a pocket passer where he can only give you a 5.5 or at best a 6 of what he has the potential to be. I would take 6 years of Dak Prescott running the ball a little bit here and there and just generally using his legs in addition to play action passes and all that, but his career is cut a little bit short by injury. I would take 6 years of that before I took 10 years or 12 years of Dak the pocket passer. Do you agree? Disagree? Let me know. Because it's like, bro, we can win with this. We can be legit with this. This over here, this is just okay on the best days, it's just okay. Otherwise, it's like, not very good, but he can make some clutch plays. That's cool. Young Wilson, what's good? Sorry, live stream guys. I'm talking to DDP about Bike 12. No, you're good. You're good, Adam. V kills it for the win. How far do you believe we will go? Man, there's a lot more of you guys in here than I thought there'd be on Christmas Eve. How far do I think we go? Well, we got most likely Seattle. I think it's locked up, or pretty much locked up. Seattle in the first round. Here's the thing about Seattle. Seattle is a very good, fundamentally sound team, but they don't have the talent or star power they used to have. I know they've gone on a really good streak as of late. They just beat the Chiefs. That's obviously a really good accomplishment for them. But they tripped up the week before. I forget who it was they played, but they tripped up against someone. And at home, they're much better. That's big, too. So Dallas being the 4 seed here, it's big for them to get to host the game as well. Dallas has just 1 loss at home this year, that being to Tennessee, whereas on the road, they only have 2 wins this season. So it's completely different for the Cowboys. I think that it sets up well for Dallas, that if the offense, as I said, they're 8-0 in this season where they score at least 20 points. If Dallas's offense can strike early, give them maybe 10 to 14 points early on, I feel damn good about this team advancing past the wild card round. I think this team, if the offense doesn't carry its weight, I think this team can get only to the divisional round. But if the offense can play anything like it was in 2016 with regard to total possession and being able to cap off drives with touchdowns as opposed to field goals, then I think this team has potential to go to the NFC Championship game for the first time in 22 years. That's where I feel like this team is at. They've got the ability. This defense is good enough to go to, if not potentially win, the Super Bowl. The only reason I'm reluctant to say definitively is because they're not a team known for creating a lot of turnovers. Tampa Bay, I know they gave it away twice, but they're a team known for turning the ball over despite putting up a lot of passing yards. So something to consider there, you know. It's going to boil down to what the offense can do. The offense will either hamstring them or it will complement them enough that they're able to ride the success a little bit in the playoffs for somewhat of a playoff run. I think we go as far as the offense takes us. Yep, that's what I was just saying. Lots of holding against the D-line. Refs, no call. Tucker shirt. Yeah, no, I agree, Young. Oh, yeah, those DSJ rumors are trash. I agree. Honestly, on those, the only thing I'm going to say about that at this point, I think it is a case where they're kicking up a story because it's the slow holiday thing, because this is something that they said, like, oh, when it finally leaked to the media, like as if this had been going on for a week or two. And to me, it's like, it's a mild story that no one felt was worth mentioning before. And now, like, oh, look at that. It's out here Christmas Eve. Woo! Or, 2 days before Christmas, whatever. All right, let's talk about it. I don't buy much into it. He wouldn't even have much stock right now considering his year and his health. So, moving on. Too much overhead. I'm not sure what I follow. I'll add a little bit to the conversation. Once Tavon Austin gets healthy, they need to use his assets. They do, absolutely. Tavon Austin I think he's day-to-day at this point. He's a potentially an X factor for them. He really is, because now I know by himself he is not a beast. I mean, in the Giants game, he had a 64-yard touchdown catch on like the second or third snap from scrimmage. But he's a guy who, now that you have an Amari Cooper out there, can give you a little bit more. I think he could be a critical X factor that you see used, at least in terms of snap count, something like 15 to 18 snaps a game. But we got to see where his groin injury is at. I think as he had put it, his groin, the muscle was torn off the bone, and he didn't go the route of surgery. I don't even know how to process that you're out there willing and able to run routes after that kind of noise. That hurts me just to think about. But if he's there, he can be a huge huge playoff X factor for Dallas. Probably divisional. I don't think we're going to the Saints to beat them. Our defense needs a crazy game. Agreed. Repped my DDP shirt from West Virginia to Gatlinburg. That's what's up. Let me scroll back. Here we go. Our interior line on both sides played well enough to win, even with the suspect play calling. I agree. I answered that question, Vig G. V kills it for the win. How far do you believe we can go? I answered that. Wow, that's scary. If you have a freshman, that's better than Austin Kendall that almost beat out Murray in the spring. Yeah, Spencer Rattler. He's a 5-star prospect, and he's a dual-threat quarterback, kind of like Murray. Keep an eye out. Brett Bender, what's up, good? DDP, who do you want to see in the first round of the playoffs? I don't want Seattle. We're probably going to get Seattle. That's probably the reality of the situation. Honestly, for the wild card round, there's no one I necessarily fear. Again, Seattle still made the playoffs, so credit to them. But they're not the Seattle of old. And honestly, if I think back to like week 3, I think it was, when we played at Seattle, if not for a couple lapses from our defense that hadn't quite put it all together then, we win that game potentially. Now, we didn't score 20, so I guess you could say maybe not. But we gave up 2 50-yard bombs for touchdowns, I believe, in that game. And that was the difference. So if you have a more prepared defense that doesn't give up those kind of plays now, which I think we do, there you go. That's the difference in the game. So we'll see. And now you have an Amari Cooper, which you didn't have then. So it's a different equation. I think Dallas at home is still favored over Seattle, personally. Not by a wide margin. Maybe it's just a 3-point home advantage you typically see in the Vegas line. But favored nonetheless. Can't be scared of Seattle. Can't be scared of anyone. I agree, Daniel. Is there any chance we play the Vikings instead? No, I think it's locked up. Hey, Young Wilson, what's good, man? Salute for the donation to grow the nation, man. Keep up the great work and stats. Appreciate it, man. That is greatly appreciated, fam. Let's see here. That's who you want to see. They are sketchy. Talking about that matchup, yep. To be the best, we have to beat the best. Agreed, Daniel. I'm more worried. Oh, hey, there's the donation symbol. There you go. The spitting out the dollar thing. That's what's up. I'm more worried about Dak, says Vic. Dak has been inconsistent, and he has had a fumbling issue since coming into the league. Even as a rookie, when he made the Pro Bowl, I pointed out he fumbles the ball too often. He's got big hands. I think he's in like the top 5% in the league as far as hand size goes, which you want to talk about these stupid, obscure stats I know. That's among them. He's got really big hands. His pocket presence is trash, however, and I think a lot of that has to do with the development. Part of it, you could say, is the benefit of, for the most part, having a solid offensive line his first 2 years, although the second half of last year it wasn't very good, and this year it's been very suspect at times. The rest of that is I put the rest of that on Linehan and Garrett, because those are the guys chiefly responsible for his development. And the fact that he regressed for a calendar year before turning it around, I think has to go heavily on them. And for me, that's a fireable offense. The franchise, Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, they believe Dak is the franchise guy. They have said they are going to extend him and Amari Cooper this summer. Therefore, he's the franchise guy. Like it or not, we got at least 2 to 3 more years of Dak Prescott. And the only way to save Dak, in my mind, is to get a new offensive coordinator, if not a new head coach as well in here. And if they have any success in the playoffs, unfortunately, I think we got Garrett stuck with us for a while. That sucks. I don't really like Garrett at all. But at the very least, if they can go out and get a better offensive coordinator, maybe they can still save Dak. And maybe Dak can still be a better quarterback. He'll never be the pocket passer that Scott Linehan wanted him to be. He'll never be a Tom Brady, an Aaron Rodgers, a Drew Brees. He'll never be that guy. But he can be a very capable and effective quarterback. We saw that for good stretches of 2016, and we've seen flashes of it since then. Look at the end of that Eagles game. That 28-yard pass to Amari Cooper in the end zone could not be more perfect. Then he hits him for a 75-yarder that travels 40 yards through the air, still lands on a dime. He's got the ability. You just need to groom it and to work with him on the other aspects of his game. So if you want to save Dak, that's what you got to do in my mind. We should be more about our defense than anything for this playoff run. Agreed. Dak is sometimes good, sometimes awful QB. Agreed. And again, a lot of that's on the coaching staff and the play calling. The way they use him is not to his strengths. They try to make him something he's not, and a lot of the time it exposes him. Like, the defense's job is already to expose your quarterback for his weaknesses. When your own damn offensive coordinator is doing it, bro, it's a losing equation. You can't outdo your offensive coordinator and the other team's defense and their defensive coordinator as well. Like, they're stacking the odds against him. And again, for anyone listening right now that thinks like, oh, I'm just shielding Dak, I don't. I tear Dak a new one when he's bad. I tore him a new one for the 3.5 quarters he played against Philadelphia a couple weeks ago before he went nuts in the last 6 minutes of regulation and then the 10-minute drive of overtime that gave Dallas a 3-game lead in the NFC East. I will criticize him gladly when he is trash, but you got to call it both ways, and that's what I try to do. Hopefully you guys see that, understand that, whether I'm talking Mavericks, Cowboys, Big 12 football, whatever. I call it like I see it, and I try to be as fair and objective as I can across the board. I try and let the stats, facts, and analysis back up and support everything I say. Is our defense hungry enough? I think they are. I really do. I think our defense is damn hungry. And, I mean, you saw it even from DeMarcus Lawrence after the game. When ESPN and SportsCenter were tweeting out that the Cowboys won the NFC East, the graphic they used was Dak, Zeke, and Cooper. And DeMarcus Lawrence tweeted back at him like, hey, you know we have defensive players too on this team, right? And some damn good ones. Show some respect. Like, they're hungry. They still feel like disrespected. They're still looking at it like, bro, we're the strength of this team. Why the hell aren't you showing us and like any of us in this picture? Like, they are hungry. And you look at someone like Randy Gregory, I think he's hungry to make an impact. I wish David Irving was here. That would be a whole nother X factor for this team if he was. But mentally, he's not right for this team right now. And you have to look at what you have here and what you know. So it is what it is. I mean, I think this defense is hungry enough. The question is what the offense can do to back up and support the defense. Against San Francisco, Skidall lost. That's what it was. Thank you, Daniel. My absolute favorite thing about the game is how hungry Randy Gregory looked. See right there, right as I was saying. I swear I made that point and then saw your comment. I wasn't trying to hijack your point, Brett. Were you rooting for the Chiefs to beat the Seahawks? I was iffy on it. Yeah, I mean, okay, so you're basically asking me at that point, who would I have rather faced, the Seahawks or the Vikings? That's a good question. I would tell you that the Seahawks present more problems because of our losses this year. I think all but one have come against mobile quarterbacks. Andrew Luck's not mobile. He's capable, but I wouldn't call him mobile. He's a more traditional pocket passer, quick pocket passer this year. I would say that Kirk Cousins is much more so ripe for the picking for us, but at the same time, Minnesota's got a damn good pair of receivers in Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. Kyle Rudolph as well is a beast. Dalvin Cook is a good running back. Latavius Murray, I think is, am I crazy? Latavius Murray still there? Yeah. They've got a lot of talent in Minnesota, and they've just had weird little things happen where their season hasn't turned out quite like they thought. I think based on that, I would still, even with Russell Wilson being a more capable mobile quarterback, I mean, part of his size deficiency is that they do roll him out, not to scramble, but to open up passing windows for him. I would still say I think that Seattle's the better matchup for Dallas. Glad, have a good Christmas, DDP. Glad, have a good Christmas, man. For real, hit me up. You deserve a shirt. Message me, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. I got a shirt with your name on it, buddy. Let me see here. My absolute, got that? So yeah, I think I was rooting for, in that picture, the Seahawks, I guess, if you put it that way. If I have to think about it, I would probably say I'm happy with the way it went with the Seahawks pulling out the win. Didn't know he was hurt. Ouch, talking about Tavon Austin. Explain what Tavon Austin did to OU back in the day. Tavon Austin ran for all the yards against OU, but hey, he still lost, so I had to clap back a little bit. I'm wearing an OU shirt right now, bro. For Pete. Do you think we should rest our players? In my opinion, if Tavon Austin is ready, I want him to play, as well as the warming up Dak for the playoffs. Let Zeke and all the injured guys sit. Yeah, so I mentioned that earlier, so let me go into now the home stretch here. Merry Christmas, Adam. Let me go into the home stretch here a little bit. Tavon Austin, absolutely. I play him. If he's healthy, if he's ready, I play him right now. You got to get him some reps, get him a little bit warmed up. Dak, I still play, at least for a half. I let him play. Zach Martin, I consider resting because he's had 3 MCL sprains since the preseason. In the preseason, he had one at Philadelphia, and then he had one versus Philadelphia back in Dallas a few weeks later. The fact that he hasn't torn something yet, knocking on wood, is a miracle. So they need to rest him. I know he played this game, but it was a game they had to have, I feel. I would rest him realistically. And I would rest Zeke because Zeke has already now surpassed his total touch count from 2016, and he's done it comfortably. So you now include him in the passing game a lot more. He is in the top 5, I want to say, in terms of running backs with receptions this year, trailing guys like Todd Gurley, Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, I think, is the leader in that department. But he's in the discussion, and that's what I wanted. That's what I complained for 2 freaking years, and in year 3, they finally listened to me. Not like they actually read my articles and said, I think this DDP guy's got something right. Yes, sir. This DDP guy's on to something. No, not what happened, but at the same time, I'm happy that they're finally utilizing him in that element that he can provide assistance for, because it has completely opened things up for the offense for them. Even before Cooper got here, it helps them. And now that Cooper is here, it adds another dimension, and that's why you're seeing Zeke more effective in the passing game in the second half of the season. Boom. So, wait, do I have a drop for that? I forget sometimes I have the drops. There you go. Macho Man it. I don't know. But regardless, that's where things are at. I rest those guys. I give Dak at least a half, and I roll from there. We're not resting our starter, says Tavion. Play him some. Don't rest him the full game, but play him at least some. And then rest them. Like, be reasonable. You're not going to advance your own status. Here's the difference. So here's why I make the case, guys. The difference between 2016, when we rested and then we came out rusty as hell in the playoffs, we were the 1 seed in 2016, and we rested our guys in week 17. So do the math. 1 week off because of week 17. Bye in the first round of the playoffs. Let me shift over here. Oh no, my green screen. Breaking the fourth wall. And then we had the game. So they had 2 weeks off for that. And if you factor in the week building up to week 17 when they knew they weren't playing anyway, they kind of had like 2.5 weeks off. I mean, realistically, that was a mistake. And they came out flat in 2016 and they paid the price for it. For I would say for this year, if you rest them this week, they're not going to get a bye. They're going to play in the wild card weekend. So you still have the potential to stay hot. But if you play them like a half, the essential guys for a half, you have a chance to continue building on that momentum while resting some key important players. That's what I think they should do. I don't think we need a new head coach. The players love and respect Garrett. They have Garrett's back, and they've never quit on him through 11 years of mediocrity. So there's something to be said for that. My problem with Garrett is I don't think he makes adjustments in-game well, and sometimes I think he doesn't make adjustments week to week very well. I do think he is generally good at making adjustments season to season. He will look at what didn't work the previous year, what was their Achilles heel, what derailed them, and he will address those things both through the draft, both through schematic changes, and it generally works out pretty well for them. But that's something to consider. All right, cool. Let's see here. Feel there's a good chance Linehan gets the boot this offseason. I fully expect it. I don't think... Oh, read that. Hopefully, maybe... Man, I'll be right back. No worries. Percent chance Riley boots to NFL, asks Adam. 5%. I don't think Lincoln Riley's going anywhere, dude. He's already making like $6 million a year at Norman. He's got top recruiting classes. He has yet to win a national championship. Bro, he's finishing year 2 this year. He's 36 years old, 35 years old. He's got all the time in the world. There's no reason for him to jump ship to the NFL yet. Why would he come, like, people asking me why would he, about Dallas. Why would he come to Dallas knowing he has to answer to Jerry Jones and be under his controlling thumb his whole time? Why does he want to be a puppet? He wouldn't. People ask him, would he go to Cleveland for Baker Mayfield? Bro, Baker Mayfield is my jam. That is my dude. That is my favorite college player of all time. I freaking love Baker Mayfield. He will be the rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year this year. And if he throws 3 touchdown passes next week against the Baltimore Ravens, he will set the single season rookie touchdown pass record. Bro, he didn't start until week 4. Week 4. That's how damn good he's been. Baker Mayfield is phenomenal. I would love to have a prospect like that. But we don't, and I'm going to work with what we got. I'm going to rock with the guys that got us here. All the love. When he does good, I'll give all the love to Dak. When he makes mistakes, I will be critical. As I was critical of Baker at OU, to be fair. I don't want to make it sound like I'm just a homer for one dude and not the other. But I don't see Lincoln Riley going to Cleveland either. No chance. I mean, it doesn't fit him well other than the fact that, hey, Baker's there. Cool. But that it's not the same. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason. Does he have the control he has at OU and the influence? No. Does he have the same contract? Probably no. Or if he does, it's like a horizontal step. It's not a step up in pay. So why would he do it? I just don't think he would. Hopefully. Ouch, hear you though. I don't know if Garrett's press conference, but he did say healthy players will play. Okay, good call out, Brett. I did not see the latest Garrett presser. Holiday travels got me kind of thrown out of my whack. So he says healthy players will play. Okay, interesting. I wonder by that metric who he would deem healthy, because I would not consider Zach Martin, who's been listed as questionable. I would not consider him healthy. Zeke, you would say, is probably healthy and good to go. Who's another guy I would say is iffy? I mean, you could stretch that however you wanted. Like, oh, you know, DeMarcus Lawrence has been playing with the torn labrum the last 2 seasons. Not quite healthy. I don't know. I think you need to be very strategic if you're Dallas, because if someone goes down in a meaningless Week 17 game, I want Jason Garrett's head, figuratively. Jerry said all the stars are going to play this Sunday. Okay, fair point. Jerry Jones is a geriatric lunatic. Fair point. He built the most valuable team in the world. Give the man credit. And when it comes to marketing, Jerry Jones is a genius. When it comes to building a team, he made the great hire of Jimmy Johnson, and then he got mad like 3 years into the experiment that he wasn't getting enough of the credit, and so he kind of torpedoed his own growing dynasty, and now we've had 22 years of not even... We've had 2 playoff wins in 22 years. Like, yes, give him credit. He's built the most valuable sports franchise in the world. But also don't be afraid to point out his obvious shortcomings in the meantime. For an example, here's another perfect example to further drive that point home. Since the Cowboys last went to the NFC Championship game, only, I think, 2, maybe 3 other teams in the league have not made at least the conference championship. The Cleveland Browns. I remember Jacksonville made it last year, and so that took 1 away. I nearly flipped you guys off by mistake. So 2 teams. Cleveland Browns. And I'm trying to think of who the other one was that hasn't made it since the Cowboys last went. Oh, would it just be the Cowboys? It might be. Texans? Did they make the AFC Championship once? Maybe they're the other team. But regardless, it's very unfortunate, rare company they're in. My Raiders are laying the smack down on some candy asses. No one cares, LOLJK. All right, I like that playful response back. That's good. Definitely keep it civil here. That's one thing I love with the community we got here is that we're all supportive and we'll disagree, we'll debate, but no bitterness, no spit and venom for no reason. Baker is lighting it up, son. Yes, he is. I wish he'd go somewhere. LOL. Seems like the rookies are just having the record-setting season. Wait, seems like rookies are just having record-setting season, or is it just me? Like the past 3 years, the rookies are balling out. I think part of it is the way... Okay, so here's my theory on this, Tavion. The way that the game has evolved in recent years, it's becoming more and more and more and more like the college game. And because it's more spread out offenses and more pass-heavy, it's completely reshaped the way that the league works. And as a result, you have guys who were undersized before, like a Russell Wilson, who was kind of a trailblazer, a Drew Brees, trailblazer as well. You'll have guys like that who start to succeed. But Russell Wilson in this latest set coming in 2012, that's a guy who came in, was undersized at 5'11", and who kind of changed the game a little bit. So now you have teams adopting this spread offense. And it freaking works because you're putting up points now. And the way the league has changed its rules over the years to favor offenses has also worked. So you have this just perfect storm of these guys who run 3 or 4 years in college running like, more spread offenses or things like that. Like that's why you're seeing like the Pat Mahomes and Baker Mayfields and guys like that, guys who are able to turn the ball loose a little bit more. They're tearing it up. And it's because the rules and the changing of offenses suits what their strengths are. And so they're able to make that next step from college to pro more easily. That's my analysis on it. And that's why you're seeing in recent years rookies are tearing it up more and more and more, where now you're looking at these classes, whether it be quarterbacks or whatever, and you're like, man, this is a really deep class offensively. Like this seems better than a couple of years ago. Like it's because it is. It's because it's an easier transition now because of the way the offenses have evolved and the rule set. Let me see here. I would rather give Giants a W and ruin their draft. It's definitely not bad to do that, but they've already pretty well ruined it on their own sake. I'm not worried about the win next week, honestly. I'm really not. Would 10-6 sound better than 9-7? Sure, but I'm not gonna be upset if they end up 9-7. Who cares? You won the division. 9-7 teams have won the Giants. The Giants last Super Bowl, they were 9-7 when they won the Super Bowl, I believe. So it's happened. Like you can do it. Is it as exciting? No. But all I care about is that the team is healthy and ready to go when the Seattle playoff game arrives. True, but I want to prevent the Giants from getting a QB. It's a very shallow quarterback draft this year, and the Giants, with all their recent winning, have already screwed themselves over, and they've said that they have talked themselves into another year of Eli, if not 2. So everything's good there. Redskins, question mark. What about the Redskins, Brett? I missed that. Did I mention Redskins earlier? I don't know. Redskins lost, so they're eliminated from the playoff contention, if that's what the question was pertaining to. We need to give Dak some deep throws this weekend to serve as better practice. I wouldn't be opposed to it in the stint that you have Dak in there to take some shots downfield. I think that'd actually be pretty smart. But anyway, we'll see what the team does. In the meantime, guys, that's going to do it for my time. It's about 10:10 in the evening. I've been going for 57 minutes. I appreciate each and every one of you that tuned in with me here. If you haven't already, please take a moment to like this video, smash the like button, subscribe, ring the notification bell. We are closing in on 1,600 subscribers. Oh, there's your comment, Brett. Redskins is a team that hasn't been to the championship since Dallas last one. You're correct. That is one as well. Good point. Good point. By the time I got caught up in the comments, I forgot what the context of that was. Yes, you're correct. But regardless, We are closing in on 1,600 subscribers. Share this video, guys. If you got friends that like Cowboys, that like Mavericks, like whatever, college football, share it. We are growing this community. We are working. We are building. You can follow me on Twitter as well. Me personally at DDP_journalist. You can find my writings at thedallasprospect.com or at dallassportsfanatic.com. If you want to follow the Dallas Prospect Twitter, there it is, at Dallas Prospect as well. We post all kinds of those quick little shareable graphics where you got the quotes after the game, highlight packages, things like that as well. Check it out. And if you want to check out the official Dallas Prospect merch store, check that out at represent.com/store/the-dallas-prospect. Those are brand spanking new. So if you really want to show your love, we got not only the official logo and the slogan "Every Legend Was Once a Prospect" shirts. We've also got some Luka Legend and some other original designs as well. We're going to be rolling some new ones out early in the new year as well, so keep an eye out for that. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, whatever you want to do. Regardless, above all, guys, thank you for tuning in, and remember, every legend was once a prospect. For the final time in 2018, wait. Let me look at my calendar. A damn fool I am! You guys are going to see me on the 31st. Not for the final time in 2018. For the second to final time in 2018, every legend was once a prospect. Salute.